Hey, I tell you what, this is something you don't see on every late October day. I'm out on Lake Erie and there's no wind. In fact, it's beautiful weather out here, and what makes it really nice is I'm seeing a ton of walleyes on my screen. I'm in the Vermillion, Ohio area, and for those anglers who know about it, you know this is a key area for walleyes to stage in the fall. And I'm going to be using open water tactics with crankbaits to try and catch these walleyes. I'm going to show you how to find the fish and how to pattern them so that you can get the next bite. I can't believe it.
It's a Lake Erie monster.
Lake Erie is big, just under 10,000 square miles, and the walleyes that swim in this body of water aren't small either. In fact, during the fall, some of Erie's largest walleyes make a migration back to their shallower spawning areas where they become more accessible to fishermen. You might even say they become too accessible, as Keith Kavajecz will soon demonstrate.
Nice Erie walleye there.
We catch up with Kavajecz at a bed and breakfast in Vermillion, Ohio, who says anglers don't have a taste for finer things.
I actually got a little bit different kind of accommodations for this shoot. We're staying in a bed and breakfast, but it's kind of really nice. Nice bed, and you actually get breakfast. It'll be one of those days.
Unfortunately, even pro fishermen like Kavajecz have to deal with an occasional setback from time to time. In this case, it's a flat tire. But a quick stop at the local grocery store for some Nutter Butters should make everything copacetic again.
Nutter butter, peanut butter, sandwich cookies.
Pay launch fee at the dock shed before you go fishing. Got a little problem here, nobody at the dock shed.
Before Kavajecz can leave without paying the fee, the launch master finally arrives with his partner in crime, a golden retriever by the name of Hemingway. Hemingway loves to play fetch, but not the normal kind of fetch you may be thinking of.
What I want. Yeah, good boy.
Boy, look at all the activity on this screen, and that's exactly what you want when you're out in open water. You either want to see a lot of arcs or a lot of bait fish to put you in the right zone to start fishing even. Now, the nice thing about these marks is a lot of them are coming up off the bottom, and that's what we really want to see when we're open water fishing. The open water fish, as they get more active, they will move up in the water column. And in fact, the most active fish will be the highest in the water column. So what I'm looking at a lot here is, see these upper marks here in 20, 22, 24 feet of water. You're seeing a lot of the fish that we're going to target. So when you are out here, look at your depth finder, try and find lots of activity like this, try and find those highest fish, and then put your baits at or above them, and you'll be a successful open water fisherman.
After Kavajecz marks a large number of fish, he trolls deep-running crankbaits through the school with his kicker motor. Planer boards move the baits out away from the boat and provide a better spread to intercept suspended walleyes.
Look at the rod bend here. Look at the rod bend. Oh yeah, that's a fish. I gave it a little pull. Come here. Quick unsnap it here. Keep the tension on my rod. Oh yeah, there he is. Good fish. Geez, he's bigger than I thought. I think I'll get the net here. There. He's quite a bit bigger than I thought. And look, he's off. Well, he's in the right place to get off. Right in the middle of the old net. Oh, boy, I didn't think he was going to be that big. I said, thunk, thunk, thunk. He's about getting ready to wallow. He's big enough to do that. Look at the size of the guts on these things. Big old fat fish. They've been eating good. Here's a fish. Here's a fish. Oh, come on. Give a little kick there as it was sliding towards me, but I just keep my rod tip way back so that once I unhook that board, I still got a tight line to that fish. 8 feet left. He should be coming right here. Oh yeah, pretty decent one. Nice fish. Grab this net. Get him though. There he is. Nice fish. Nice fish. Oh, and he's off. I could see he was just barely caught by that back hook. We got her done though. Boy, is that a nice fish. I didn't think it was gonna be that big. He was just coming in nice and steady though. Well, we caught a couple fish there, and walleyes are a schooling fish. So instead of trolling on and on and on here, what I want to do is just take and circle back. And the reason for that is we've got an active school. I know where the fish, what depth the fish are at. And all I've got to do now is circle back and go through that same school with my lures in the right area, and I should catch a bunch more. But don't just go right back over where I trolled. I'm going to circle around, come back, start up down here in the same kind of position, come with the wind, and hopefully catch some more walleyes. Well, I'm seeing a lot of fish down in 20, 22, 24 foot. So what I'm going to do is let these crankbaits out. This is a deep diving tail dancer. I'm going to let them out and watch my line counter here, and I'm going to let them out to about 80 feet, I figure. 80, maybe 90 feet. Should get them down in that zone. In fact, I'll probably run one line at 80 and one line at 100, just to try and figure out what zone they're not only sitting in, but what zone they're eating in. And by watching my line counter, keeping track of which lures get a bite, I can start to home in on that feeding zone. So here's 70, 80 feet. So that's what's going to make that lure dive down. Now the next thing I'm going to add on is a board. The thing to remember about boards is that they don't change how deep a lure goes at all. It doesn't even really change the action. What it does for you is spreads this lure out away from the boat, especially for suspended fish. Suspended fish are spooky fish. What you've got to do is use those boards, clip them on your line, and then simply let out more line, and that board will slide out away from the boat. What I like to do a lot of times, turn on my clicker here, just put this rod in the rod holder, we'll let that go out, and I can start working on my next line.
Because suspended walleyes feed in an upward direction, Kavajecz positions his baits just above where the majority of fish are being marked on his graph.
Oh, good fish here, good fish. I can tell it's a good fish just by the way that board went back. Get this board in here. There. Clip one, clip the other one. He's out there about 30, 40 feet, and they just want to stop. Especially on the bigger ones, they'll start hearing that engine or sensing the boat is here. In fact, I'm going to slow this down just a hair. I like to get a look at him first just so I kind of know what I'm battling. Oh yeah, he's a good one. Bring him right to the net here, and up he comes. Good one. Little net shuffle to get him all the way in. But I got him. Got to get a nice big net for out here, that's for sure. Because these are big fish. Got him on that blue and white, purple and white it is. Here's something interesting. He bit it on the red hook. And that's not as uncommon as you would think. A lot of times people think about them biting that back hook, and they will. But with that red hook on it, it kind of gives them something to trigger on. And they'll see it and don't come up and hit that red hook. And the nice thing about that is if he misses it, then your back hook a lot of times will get him. That's a nice Erie walleye there. Big old fat belly on him. There we go. Right back down there. Oh yeah, no problems. Right here, right here. Boy, that board didn't go back 10 feet and it's got one on it. I just put it in the rod holder and it's going back and it just kept going back. I don't know, when you get a bite like that, the one thing to really consider is bringing your lures up. And the reason I say that is because the bait hasn't dove all the way down to its correct diving depth. So it's somewhere, you know, between the surface and that 22, 24 foot down. Ooh, that's a nice fish, wide fish. I got him. That is a big Erie walleye. Sometimes it's a little hard when you're out by yourself to net these because you kind of lunge. Well, that lets your rod go back and that lets that fish slide back, and boy, he's off already. But look at the size of him. What a fish. That is a nice one. Wow, look at this fish. That is a Brutus for Lake Erie.
There you go, buddy.
The real deal. Straight talk to help make you a better fisherman.
What I talk about is a little bit on the criteria that I use to pick crankbaits for this open water scenario. First thing I'm going to look at is the water temperature. We're looking at 57, 58 degrees here. That's a moderate temperature. So what I'm going to use is a moderate action crankbait. A moderate action crankbait is one that has roll to it, but yet a little bit of wobble. Okay, so a little bit of roll, a little bit of wobble, that's called a moderate action crankbait. That's what you want to use when the water temperature is, say, anywhere from 50 to about 65 degrees. The second thing I'm going to look at on the bait is its profile. Out here in Lake Erie, we're fishing for big fish. So most of the time, you're going to want to look at a big, long bait. This deep tail dancer here has got a lot of profile to it. It looks like an easy meal. It looks like a big meal. So bigger walleyes are going to typically eat that. The next thing I'm going to look at is the bill. The bill on this, what I want is something that can bring me down to the fish. The fish I'm seeing on the screen are mainly 22, 24 foot deep, some all the way down to 30. This bill will easily take me down that deep. And in fact, I'm actually shortening up my lines and only running anywhere from 80 to 100 feet back to get this bait down into the right zone. The tricky part about the zone on this particular trip is a couple days ago we had some real severe winds here, and the water is actually a little bit more turbid than usual. What that means is you're going to have to get more precise on where that bait is placed, and therefore that's why I have such a small range of line out, just 80 to 100 feet. But that'll take this bait down 20, 22, maybe 24 feet deep. The last thing I'm going to look at is the color. Now, for out here on Lake Erie, a lot of times white seems to be a really good color. The other nice thing about white is it's very visible in dingy water, so it's a good selection for today. I also have a little bit of brightness on here in the chartreuses and oranges to give it a little bit more brightness yet, and then of course my red hook to give it a little bit of an attraction. So look at the water temperature you're fishing. Again, I'm using a moderate action crankbait, the size of fish you're going after, and the colors they're going to like, and that'll give you the right criteria for picking the right crankbait for that day.
Sight Bites, answers to questions from the Next Bite website. Brought to you by Purina. Your pets, our passion.
From Cleveland, Ohio, Ben asks, how do you guys keep your tools, your lures, and your hooks all from getting rusty when you're on the water all the time?
It always happens. Whenever I need a tool, I open up the toolbox and they're worthless, inoperable. And it's been that way pretty much my whole life, except for the last couple of years. And I've actually learned through trial and error how to maintain my tools. And essentially, it's because of a new technology. It's called VCI technology, and it's a chemical material that actually will bond to the surface layer of the metal. It basically binds with the molecules of hydrogen and oxygen to stop rust. Not only that, is this technology is incorporated in many different ways. What I have here is an oil, a real heavy-duty oil, with the VCI technology built right into it. So I get the best of both worlds. I get the lubrication of the oil and then the barrier resistance of the surface layer that it forms on the tools. Now this is a pliers that's been in my boat all summer long. And all I do is periodically wipe it down, I spray it down, and then I just wipe it off. And you know, it gets wet every single day, but look at it. It's really in pretty good shape. The same thing with my toolbox. I take the spray. I like using the spray for the tools, and I'll actually just open up the box and I'll spray down inside. If I want a little bit extra tools, let's say a ratcheting screwdriver like we have here, then I'll spray the oil right onto a cloth and wipe this down so it's got a good coating. One other thing that I can do is you can see these little chips here. They actually break apart, and they're made for your tackle box to lay in the trays where the hooks and stuff are laying. But I like to just take a bunch of those and throw those into my toolbox. What happens is those chips build a vapor, basically a vapor matrix inside the toolbox, and it spreads out and coats the metal surfaces too. Just close up the toolbox. You've got the protection that you need. You've got the vapor making chips inside, and rust is no longer a problem.
That's just one of a ton of great tips we've got on the Next Bite website, your best source for information on catching fish with teeth.
Back to more open water walleye fishing on Lake Erie.
Well, it's a fish. It's a fish. The board isn't, I don't know. Usually on a big fish, they just flatten right over and go back, so. But it's a fish. Fun. Oh, hey. A fish that all of a sudden decided to stop. Right here. Come on. I just want to keep that tension on. Oh yeah, good fish. 80 feet of line I had out. 22 foot down. Oh, look at the, I mean, he's not only decent long, but look at the girth on this thing. It's a big wallow pig. Let me just get the net here. Pop this up. Come on, nice and easy. Oh, is that a fat fish? Oh, is that a fat fish? Come here. Don't do that. Oh! Oh, look at the gut on this thing. Oh, look at this gut. It's just a pig. Look at here. Bit the old red hook. Man, is that a big fish. Man, is that a big fish. He ain't the longest Lake Erie fish I've ever caught, but my goodness, is he fat. I mean, look at the gut on this thing. It's huge. He's wide this way and he's wide this way. Man, that's a heavy fish. He's certainly been eating for the fall. Ready for winter. He's only got to use 2 hands to carry that one. Look at the size of him.
No doubt Lake Erie is enormous, but more impressive than this lake's size is the number of large walleyes swimming here. With a little bit of understanding of suspended walleyes and a willingness to experiment with different presentations, you too can tap into this incredible Great Lakes fishery.
Deep crankbaits, suspended walleyes, big fun. You know, they're a little, I guess I wasn't ready. There we are. Snap it. I just do my You're killing me. You're killing me. Hey, here's something you don't see every late October day. I'm out on Lake Erie and the weather is beautiful. The wind is down, the waves are down, but there's a ton of fish on my fishing screen. I'm looking at this little.
For one-of-a-kind accommodations on Lake Erie, contact the Captain Gilchrist Guest House at 440-967-1237 or visit them on the web at gilchristhouse.com. The Next Bite is a production of Marine Grade Marketing.